All right, we are on chapter 5 in The Night at Dawn. Chapter 5, Trapped. Come on, cried Annie. Jack raced behind her. Were they being followed? Here, quick! Annie dashed towards the door off the hallway. She pushed the door open. The two of them stumbled into a dark, cold room. The door creaked shut behind them. Give me the flashlight, said Annie. Jack handed it to her. She switched it on. Yikes! A row of knights right in front of them! Annie flicked off the light. Silence. They aren't moving, Jack whispered. Annie turned the light back on. They're just suits, Jack said. Without heads, said Annie. Let me have the flashlight a second, said Jack, so I can look in the book. Annie handed him the flashlight. He pulled out the castle book. He flipped through the pages until he found what he was looking for. Jack put the book away. It's called The Armory, he said. It's where armor and weapons are stored. He shined the flashlight around the room. Oh, man, whispered Jack. The light fell on shiny breastplates, leg plates, arm plates, on shelves filled with helmets and weapons, on shields, spears, swords, crossbows, clubs, battle axes. There was a noise in the hall. Voices! Let's hide, said Annie. Wait, said Jack. I've got to check on something first. It'll just take a second, said Jack. Hold this. He handed Annie the flashlight. He tried to lift a helmet from a shelf. It was too heavy. He bent over and dragged the helmet over his head. The visor slammed shut. Oh, forget it. It was worse than having a 5-year-old on your head. More like having a 10-year-old on your head. Not only could Jack not lift his head, he couldn't see anything either. Jack! Annie's voice sounded far away. The voices are getting closer. Turn off the flashlight, Jack's voice echoed inside the metal chamber. He struggled to get the helmet off. Suddenly, he lost his balance and went crashing into the other pieces of armor. The metal plates and weapons clattered to the floor. Jack lay on the floor in the dark. He tried to get up, but his head was too heavy. He heard deep voices. Someone grabbed him by the arm. The next thing he knew, his helmet was yanked off. He was staring into the blazing light of a fiery torch. Yeah. Heavy helmet. Chapter 6. Ta-da! In the torchlight, Jack saw 3 huge men standing over him. One with very squinty eyes held the torch. One with a very fiery, very red face held Jack, and one with a very long mustache held on to Annie. Annie was kicking and yelling. Stop, said the one with a very long mustache. Who art thou? Said one with a very red face. Spies? Foreigners? Egyptians? Romans? Persians? Said the squinty-eyed one. No, you dummies, said Annie. Oh, brother, Jack muttered. Arrest them, said Redface. The dungeon, said Squinty Eyes. The guards marched Jack and Annie out of the armory. Jack looked back frantically. Where was his backpack? Go, said the guard, giving him a push. Jack went. When they marched down the long, dark hallway, Squinty, Annie, Mustache, Jack, and Red. Down a narrow, winding staircase, Jack heard Annie shouting at the guards, Dummies, meanies, we didn't do anything. The guards laughed. They didn't take her seriously at all. At the bottom of the stairs was a big iron door with a bar across it. Squinty pushed the bar off the door, then shoved at the door. It creaked open. Jack and Annie were pushed into a cold, clammy room. The fiery torch lit the dungeon. There were chains hanging from the filthy walls. Water dripped from the ceiling, making puddles on the stone floor. It was the creepiest place Jack had ever seen. We'll keep them here till the feast is done, then turn them over to the Duke, said Squinty. He knows how to take care of thieves. There will be a hanging tomorrow, said Mustache, if the rats don't get them first, said Red. They all laughed. Jack saw that Annie had his backpack. She quietly unzipped it. "Come on, let's chain the two of them," said Squinty. The guards started towards them. Annie whipped her flashlight out of her pack. "Ta-da!" she yelled. The guards froze. They stared at the shiny flashlight in her hand. Annie switched the light on. The guards gasped in fear. They jumped back against the wall. Squinty dropped the torch. It fell into a dirty puddle on the floor, sputtering, and went out. "My magic wand," said Annie, waving the flashlight. "Get down or I'll wipe you out." Jack's mouth dropped open. Annie fiercely pointed her light at one of them, then the other. Each howled and covered his face. "Down! All of you, get down!" shouted Annie. One by one, the guards laid down on the wet floor. Jack couldn't believe it. "Come on," Annie said. "Let's go." Jack looked at the open doorway. He looked at the guards quaking on the ground. "Hurry," said Annie. In one quick leap, Jack followed her out of the terrible dungeon. It's her using the flashlight. So, that is all we're reading for today. The question is, if you were in the old times, what technology would you use to do like a magic trick? Like how Annie tricked them with the light. What would you use? Would you use a camera, RC car? Would you use a blender? What would you use? What would you bring to the medieval times? So, excited to see your guys' answers, and you guys have one.